again, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining today. We're really happy because we have one of our alumni here with us, Kelvin, and we're very excited to have you on because you've had some really great experiences as part of your science degree program at the University of Manitoba. And we're going to let you introduce yourself in a second here. And actually, Shania and I, we have already introduced ourselves, but we'll do it again for the sake of the recording. My name is Lindsay, and I'm the Director of Marketing and Recruitment here at ICM.
My name is Evgenia. I'm a marketing manager also at ICM based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, taking care of some markets in the various parts of the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Shania. And I think what we'll do is, what we're going to do today is we're going to spend about 25 minutes with Kelvin. We're going to ask him a few questions, and we'll also be able to turn it over to the audience as well, in case you have any questions. But what we're really excited to hear about is your experience, Kelvin, kind of from day one on campus all the way to where you are now. So why don't you take a little moment to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about that journey. Give us a little bit of a snapshot of kind of where you started and where you ended up now.
Right. Thank you so much for having me, and sorry for the delay. But yeah, so I'm Kelvin. I'm an international student from New Delhi, India, and I started in ICM in fall 2021, September. And after completing a year in ICM, finishing up my UTB2 stage in science, I moved on to the U of M to pursue a bachelor's degree in biological sciences. And in my third year, I kind of was very intrigued by science and research experimentation. And as a kid, I was very curious. I was one of those annoying kids who would always keep asking, "Oh, why is that? But why is that?" And which kind of led me to where I'm at right now. I ended up doing an honors program, which involves research in the Department of Biological Sciences. Um, and I also got into the co-op program because that allowed me to get more experience. And right now, I'm just in my last year, doing my final co-op term at CRIM, which is the Children's Hospital Research Institute in Manitoba. And next semester, I'll go back to school. I have 3 courses left, and then I'm graduating in spring.
That is so exciting, Kelvin. You're on the home stretch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Almost done. Yeah.
Mhm.
Do you mind me asking, how did ICM help you? So was there any specific thing that you kind of found most valuable from your ICM experience?
100%. Like that is the foundation of my journey here in Canada, I would say. ICM has one thing that I still think about ICM is how like the smaller class sizes, which is usually hard to come by, especially in first and second year university classes, which kind of gives like professors more time with the students. And that really built confidence in me, and which kind of led me to apply to the extracurriculars at ICM. So I was the cultural ambassador student leader for a term. And then my student manager recommended me to become and apply to become a student leader. Sorry, student manager. Sorry, I was a student leader earlier, yeah. And I served 2 terms to being the student manager. And that really helps because we're given the freedom to actually express ourselves in terms of events, because that's kind of where the cultural ambassadors come in. And like people like James, Lindsay, John Lee, everyone's there as a backbone to support you, support all of your ideas, and you're there trying to influence other students to do what you're kind of doing and get them to be more comfortable and and kind of share their cultures. And I would say it kind of like helped a lot when you're in that room full of people from all around the world, and got all of you guys to have still things in common. And that really helped me not be taken aback with my inhibitions, and still like keep standing up, and keep doing extracurriculars when I moved on to the U of M. And currently I'm the president of BUGS, which is the Biology Undergraduate Student Association. And I'm also the vice president for a club called Musical Kaleidoscope, which is very similar to what my role was in ICM. It's people from all around the world sharing their musical culture. And we come around and we do jamming sessions. We give them free tutorials and like we pay for them to have like monthly instrument lessons.
That's so
So
cool.
It
yeah,
is cool,
so
yeah.
it came from that and it just led me to do this. Yeah.
Well, I love how you described how it, gave you the confidence because I mean, even myself, when I was a first year student, I grew up in Manitoba, but it's still
Mhm.
a completely different, it's a different experience. You're kind of out of your comfort zone. You're not necessarily
Mhm.
surrounded by people that you know well, or maybe people that you know at all. So
Mhm.
I think it's so critical to have that like support system, like you were describing, somewhere that you can grow and thrive and kind of start developing yourself and your skills. And then that just kind of helps catapult you into all of these other amazing experiences that you've had. We're going to
Mhm.
talk about your co-op experience in a couple minutes, but before we do, and you've already touched on it a little bit, can you kind of paint a picture of campus life for students? So you've told us about some really cool clubs, and in fact, I never have heard of the musical kaleidoscope. That sounds super cool. But
Mhm.
what could a student expect being a University of Manitoba student? I don't know if you want to touch on things like food or study spaces or just events and activities, but paint us a picture of how you found student life on the University of Manitoba campus.
Yeah, sure. So I would say I was a little lucky in the terms of like the faculty that I ended up being in. Faculty of Science is the largest faculty at the U of M, but I'm sure every single faculty has their own set of clubs. They have their own set of like social events. So for me personally, it was more like I would go to class and usually the first week of classes, there's people from different clubs who come in and do like a class shout out about their clubs. And I found bugs like in a similar manner where the presidents at the time came into my cell bio class and presented about their club. And I just scanned the QR code, became a member. And one another thing that I felt was really cool was that in my class I made a lot of friends. And people have these Telegram group chats that people kind of want to like share their notes and everything. So I would just show up for group study sessions, and that's how I kind of met other students in biology, and then it kind of creates like a sense of community there. Apart from that, the VWs, which is the social hub of U of M, has its own event every week, and I remember going there with my friends every single week and every single weekend, I would say. Apart from that, orientation week is full of so many events. There's so many like food stalls there. There's so many like new students that you're going to meet because they're all going through the same journey as you. And surprise, surprise, you might just meet them in one of your classes and you guys discuss your schedule and you find out you have more things in common. And it kind of slowly builds from there. But definitely would recommend reaching out to clubs like of your home faculty or your home department and kind of going from there. That kind of helps you connect with so many good resources that like just for me has helped a lot, I would say. Because you
Yeah,
never know, like they might end up becoming your references later on, you know.
totally.
But yeah.
Yeah, actually, I had a really similar experience too. I mean, I was in the business school, so I didn't have. I have to say, Bugs is like the coolest name for a club. It was what was it? The
Yeah.
Okay.
biology undergrad
Undergrad Students
students.
Association. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we didn't have a club that was named quite as cool, but still a very similar kind of ideas. Yeah, exactly. And then there's all kinds of different, sometimes they're based on hobbies or they're based
Mhm.
on cultural groups. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to get involved and meet new friends. And like you said, build your network. And speaking
Yeah.
of building our network, I think we want to ask you a little bit more about co-op. Shenya, I'll
Mhm.
pass it back to you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So, Kelvin, if you can just maybe quickly tell us about what you did. We already told the students that you did quite a bunch of different things, actually, and now you're in the Children's Research Center. But if you can
Mhm.
maybe just tell us about all of the co-op placement that you did over the
Sure.
years.
Yeah. Yeah. First off, before I say this, I also want to tell people that co-op is a journey that you can dictate. So it doesn't necessarily have to look like mine. It doesn't have to be purely research based. If you're interested more in clinical work, if you're more interested in industrial work or like working with the government, that's also something that you can do. Is I mostly stuck to research because that's where my passion lies. So for my first co-op term, I worked with Dr. Steve Wired at the Department of Biological Sciences at the U of M. And my project was pretty much using double-stranded RNA, which is basically just another type of DNA, I would say. In its simpler terms, it's like a byproduct of DNA, which can be used as a pesticide because the advantage of that is since RNA is unique in every single organism, it can target one specific species at a time. And the cool thing about that is chemical pesticides that we use today can also affect butterflies and honeybees, which are important pollinators for our ecosystem. And because of that, they like these major contributors to our whole food web are being targeted. It's not the most efficient way to target the pest species. So yeah, I was working on that, and it was mostly a topical spray, which is just spraying the insect itself or the plant with that RNA molecule and seeing if that can kill the insect. And the cool thing about that project is that ended up becoming my honors project as well. So I kept working on that project all throughout fall and winter, and I defended my thesis in at the beginning of April, and I got my honors degree from there. And for my second co-op term, which was summer 2025, just the past term, I continued working with Steve on a similar project, but slightly different. So this time, instead of trying to spray it onto the plant, I was trying to see if I can feed it to the insect. And the insect that I was looking at were aphids. Aphids are notoriously known to infest like home gardens, like kitchen gardens, and they reproduce like crazy. So they're everywhere, and there's like if you see one, by next week there's going to be thousands of them. So I was trying to see if I can feed it to them because at the end, if that works, we can directly feed it to the roots of the plant. And when the plants have taken that up, the aphids can feed on it and then die. Or we could even create GMOs that produce that pesticide that will not affect the plant, but only the aphid because it's based on the DNA marker, which is unique in every organism. And finally, for my third co-op, I kind of felt a little saturated and I kind of wanted to also expand on my technical skills. So I applied to a research center here, which is CRIM, Children's Hospital Research Institute of Manitoba. And I work at the Department of OBGYN. And my project looks at treating bacterial vaginosis, which is a condition that is symptomatic in only 23 to 29% of females, and about $4 billion is spent on treating that condition. And in severe cases, that can also cause infertility. So I'm trying to see if how boric acid, which is not an antibiotic, and it's very cheap and easily available, can be used to treat bacterial vaginosis. And I'm hoping to continue part-time in winter, just as to finish this project. But yeah, overall, just driven by translational research that can actually be utilized in real life. My co-op journey kind of looks at industry, like kind of translational research, and with a bit of like it can be agricultural or biomedical, doesn't matter to me. As long as I find it cool, I just love diving deep into that and just going down that rabbit hole.
Sounds
That's
like you're
amazing.
doing
So
very
good.
interesting and useful things, right? Something that is going to be
Yeah.
applied in real life, probably. Yeah, that's cool.
Exactly. Applied research. Yeah.
Yeah, and being able to take all of these skills that you're learning, the knowledge that you're learning in the classroom, and you can apply it to real life practical scenarios that can have a huge impact on the world. Yeah, that's very cool. And I think it's so cool that you've been doing this as an undergraduate student. I think a lot of times people think of research and they think of, maybe in a master's or PhD level, but you're an undergraduate student. You were probably starting to do this, in your third year, I guess, is when you started, second year?
Actually, second year because I did a USRA term before I got into co-op. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I
yeah.
mean, you've had years of experience now. And then what's even cooler is that when you do graduate with your honors degree, which congratulations, by the way,
Yeah.
on defending your thesis, that's amazing. you know, you'll graduate with your honors degree, but you also have had all of this amazing experience that you'll be able to leverage when you and maybe even want to work at one of these places as well. But can you
Exactly.
tell us, because you know all this experience sounds very cool, but maybe it could be intimidating to an international student who's maybe hasn't had a lot of professional experience or related experience. How did the co-op program itself, and I know that we'll be talking about the Faculty of Science, so every program every faculty might have a little bit different setup, but how did the Faculty of Science co-op program help prepare you for getting that very first co-op placement?
Sure. Yeah. Um, so yeah, that's a really good question because I myself see a lot of international students who come and ask me about the co-op program because I feel like a lot of international students have a perception that co-op, especially in science, can be a little daunting for an international student, considering a lot of the funding in research comes from the government. And the first thing you think of when you think of the government is, oh, it could just be for Canadians, you know? But no, that's not true. The co-op program itself is first off like they're accepting of international students, and one of the great things that they do is there's no extra international tuition for co-op itself. So everyone's charged the same per co-op term, which is I think a great initiative. Apart from that, the co-op, once you get into the co-op program, there are numerous seminars and sessions that you have to attend. They prepare you on how to network. They prepare you how to prepare your CV, your resume, and also how to confidently interview.
Mhm.
So they teach you what are the ethics. They teach you what the work culture is in Canada. They kind of teach you what the expectations are. And also they teach you about your own rights as an employee. So that, because I know a lot of people, including myself, have come from cultures where employee rights aren't the primary focus when it comes to the workplace, or when it's looked at the workplace, and people kind of
Mhm.
want to protect the company before their employees. But the co-op program prepares you and like teaches you as to what your expectations should be, and when they're not met, how you can kind of go forward from there. And in my experience, if anyone has had any experience that wasn't the most pleasant, they co-op had their backs for that. So yeah, co-op is really supportive. They're very understanding, especially, and they also give you extra time. So for my first co-op, they let me apply in the summer after I got in, because in order to do a co-op, you need a co-op work permit, and they let international students like have their time to apply for it and get the work permit before they can actually apply for jobs and start their work terms.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, apart from the mandatory sessions, they even have sessions where co-op alumni come in and talk about the cool stuff that they did, which is also potentially a networking opportunity for you. So there's tons of international students who are alumni of co-op who talk about it, including myself now. And you can always like talk to them, connect with them. And yeah, like I I would say like as an international student, I probably benefited a lot from co-op because it also kind of taught me how to apply for Canadian jobs and what the Canadian culture look like, you know, work culture looks like. And yeah, I don't feel intimidated talking to like my subordinates or like my people who are like who I'm answering to. And it's more chill, I would say. I'm not like quivering or super scary while talking to my professors. So yeah, I would say co-op prepares you well for co-op positions or job places in Canada.
Amazing. I mean,
That is
we can
great.
tell you're very confident speaking in front of, you know, this group in your public speaking. So that's amazing. So proud of you, Kelvin.
Oh,
Yeah, we
thank
have
you so much.
one last question, and we'll see if we have any questions from the chat. So if any of you that are online live right now have any questions for Kelvin, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We'll be wrapping up in about 5 minutes, so Kelvin can get back to work. But I think we have one last question for you, at least from our side, before we wrap up.
Oh, is
Go
it
ahead,
somebody
Jenya.
talking? Oh, sorry. Yes, I hear somebody talking. But yeah, Kelvin, thank you. So if you can maybe tell us about, I mean, we are in Winnipeg. So if you can tell us about what you like about living in Winnipeg, is there anything exciting you like to do in your free time? Just to give an idea to the students who are coming or planning to come, what it's like here in the city.
Oh, I think that's a really good question. Um, there's so many cool things to do in Winnipeg, but I would kind of like segregate them or like kind of divide them into summer activities versus winter activities. Summer activities, I love going to music festivals. There's so many, like there's Summer of Sound, there's the Folk Fest, and there's like literally like local bands performing at bars outside in like parks. And I also love going out for picnics. Only 4 months of summer, like enjoy it while you can. So summer, love anything outdoors, going out to my friend's cabin. I love any like canoeing, rafting, all that stuff. Going to beach, like Gimli Beach, amazing. And when it comes to winter activities, that's the longer season we have. I love going skating at the Forks, and like I love going out and checking on new like food places, restaurants, and then every year for Christmas, sorry, not for Christmas, for New Year's, they have the fireworks that I really like going to, and for Christmas they have the Christmas I forgot what it's called, but it's like there's like a Santa Claus and they have like a whole like
The
heart
parade.
like the parade.
Yeah,
That's
the
the word
Santa
I was
Claus
looking for. Yeah.
parade.
The Santa Claus parade. I love going to that too, but I would say I've only been there once. I really liked it, but most Christmas, like mo during Christmas times, most years I'm not here. I usually go visit my friends or my family back home. So yeah, I would say tons and tons of activities. Well, also, like once you make a lot of friends here, like your friends hear about things and they come tell you, and you just go. Like also, like always say yes to experiences. Obviously, not to experiences where you're putting yourself in danger, but to new experiences, like meeting new people, whether it's at the university or whether it's outside. And honestly, it just makes moving to a new city so much easier.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you know what? It's like we have, I think it might possibly be our final week of summer temperatures. We're around what,
Mhm.
24, 25 degrees
Yeah.
this week, but I can see the leaves are already changing and falling. So we're in that beautiful transitional period. And I am kind of getting excited for the winter, especially like you said, all of those amazing activities that you can do, like going ice skating on a frozen river and new things to try too. Okay,
Mhm.
we'll wrap it up because I know you've got to go, but we've got one question from the
Mhm.
audience here. So this student is running in business, and so they recognize that while the co-op experience might be a little different for Asper students, in your experience, how important was GPA compared to other factors like references or connections? Assuming that means when you were getting into the co-op program.
Right. So far, GPA has only been a factor while getting into the program itself, getting into the co-op program itself, because they have a cutoff, like a minimum
Mhm.
GPA that you need to be in the co-op program. Apart from that, although they do like jobs ask you to submit your transcript in science, at least in science for sure, I can tell. Um, none of the professors have ever not given me an opportunity because I had a certain GPA because in at least in science it or research it only depends on if you're familiar with the concepts, so if you've taken that class or not, and number two is how passionate you are about that research, and that kind of is reflected in your CV or a cover letter, sorry, not CV, cover letter, and your interview itself. So if it's I've literally seen so many students who are majoring in environmental science go do chemistry lab work because it's related to environmental contamination for in things like, for example, mining and like oil spills, stuff like that. They don't have a lot of background in analytical chemistry or inorganic chemistry, but they go and do that stuff because professors understand that like if you're passionate about a certain job or like certain research or certain concept, you are willing to learn whatever it takes to actually perform those tasks. And your enthusiasm and your curiosity about it matters more to employers, in my experience, than your grades. And then sometimes being a really high achiever might not be the best thing that they're looking for, because that might indicate that you're not used to failures as much. But again, that is not to say that you shouldn't try getting like good grades. But again, like what I'm trying to say is if you don't get the GPA that you want, it's not the end of the world. Because GPA can only get you so far, but your work ethic, your skills, and your passion will take you even further.
That's really great advice. Yeah, I mean, I've heard that even from my former manager here at ICM. I know it has GPA is one thing, and it can be important, especially for getting into the program itself. And like you said, meeting the requirements for co-op. But your experiences, your drive, your passion, everything that you just said, that also really contributes a lot to getting hired, I think, co-op or otherwise. Well, thank you so much, Kelvin. I think that's the end of our questions, and we will wrap it up now because I don't want you to be late for work. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I hope hearing from you. I mean, I always learn something, and I'm really interested in what you do with your, this co-op program, but also where you land after this. I think you're going to do amazing things, and you're going to go very far. And we're very excited as you enter your final year here at the University of Manitoba. Kelvin is, for those of you that are maybe watching the recording and would like to ask Kelvin a question, Kelvin is also an ambassador on our website. So if you go to icmanitoba.ca, a little card will pop up in the bottom corner that says like meet our students or chat our students. And go on there and you can message with Kelvin and ask him more about his experiences, and he'll be happy to connect with you as one of our ambassadors. Did you have anything final that you wanted to say, Kelvin? Any last words of advice or any farewell greetings before we close up?
I think I would just say, like, now that I'm in my final year, kind of looking back at like students when I used to attend these seminars or webinars actually myself before starting ICM, or while I was in ICM, one piece of advice that I would like to give is like be open to experiences. Be like, like a little say hi to your friends, or like say hi to like people you see in classes, and like the connections and like the friends you make, even with professors or your instructors at ICM, like can go a long way. Like even like for example, right now, like even me getting an opportunity to talk to you guys is because Lindsay and I know each other since my first year when I was a culture ambassador, student leader. So that has led to me being the digital ambassador for ICM and also being able to talk about my experiences here. So yeah, it builds confidence, it builds self-trust, it builds self-reliance. And yeah, I would say be open to experiences. Again, I sound like a broken record, but yeah, it doesn't hurt to try. And whatever you think, if there's something that you want to try, but you don't think you're good enough, don't even worry about that. Just put your name in the hat, and uh, just give it a shot. Don't think about anything. Just give it a shot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, that's still a learning experience. Okay. So yeah, and wherever you end up, like don't forget, even if you ever think that, oh, I'm not where I wanted to be, here's the thing, you gain some, you lose some, right? And even if you are somewhere which wasn't your first choice, understand that you're here for a reason and you will thrive in whatever you do. So yeah, that's like a final words of motivation, I guess, for
That's a
up and
perfect
coming students,
perfect way to end this. Thank you so much. I feel
Thank you
like we
so
all
much.
need some
Yeah.
of that motivation and that push. And even myself, I feel like I'll be repeating those words in my head, 'cause it's always important to remember no matter where you are in your career journey. But thank you so much,
Right.
Kelvin. Really,
Of
really
course, yeah.
appreciate you being here today. And
Yeah.
thank you everyone who joined us live. And for those of you watching the recording, we can't wait to welcome you to ICM and for you to start your journey towards whatever path that might look like. And we're very excited to welcome you. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jenya, for joining us too. And we'll see you all next time.
All right.
Have
Thanks
a
for
great
having
day at
me.
work, Kelvin.
See ya. Thank you. You guys as well. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.